Yes, Filthy is the name of the game with this one. Hello everyone, I am the Arty Dance and welcome back to the channel. Now recently I reviewed a movie called Clown of the Dead and I got a really interesting comment from a user who said something like this. We need more Indo horror movies where main character is hot Indo chick with tight pants and tops. Unfortunately, probably not going to happen unless directors start moving out of there. Well, the news I've got for you is those kind of movies already happened. And that's what we're going to have a look at this video. This is a movie called Main Dukun, which roughly translates to playing witch doctor or playing shaman. And that's kind of exactly what this movie is about. Now, I have to forewarn you in advance. I'm going to be using the words, potentially using the words slut, whore, and fuck a lot in this video. So if those words kind of offend you, maybe don't watch this video. Although if you're already on the channel, chances are you're here to be offended. Also, I'm probably going to spoil the entire film for you. And the reason is that usually when I do a synopsis of a movie, I can write a synopsis in about 2 paragraphs and comfortably give the idea of the movie. This one's a bit different. This movie is so batshit insane in regards to how quick the plot moves and how interconnected nothing is, that I couldn't write you a decent summary of this plot. So I'm probably just going, not probably, I will just summarize the whole film for you. So sit back, relax and enjoy. We're going to go through the movie Main Dukun. This will probably take about 10 minutes, I'd say. And I'm going to show you obviously some footage as well. Now, this is quite a sexy Indonesian film, and sleazy film, but there is no nudity in it at all. There's no breasts, there's no nipples, there's no butts, obviously no penises, nothing like that. It is clean but sleazy, if that makes sense. And all the footage I'm about to show you is probably as sleazy as it gets, and you can thank Indonesian religion for that. Although why this movie exists is a very good question. Also, this is not a religious film at all, which is really good. This is from 2014, so it was just before all of the things got tightened up in Indonesia where they couldn't make movies like, or they were strongly advised against making movies like this. And this comes from a generation of films, including Virgin Beach Creature and that film I looked at recently about the Jamu juice seller. All kind of sleazy horror films. So the religion in this results to one character who is wearing a hijab, who I'm assuming is Muslim, and a reference at the end in the end story to the word Allah. And pretty much that's it. What is Main Dukun about? Let's take a look. Well, the movie opens up in Bali, in a museum, where we see a woman played by Julia Perez, who personally I don't think is very attractive, but anyway, it's besides the point. She's there to steal a mirror. And the reason she's stealing the mirror is because her witch doctor, her Dukun, has asked her to do it. And he wants to use the mirror to give his second wife, or his other partner, woman. You'll find out more about the role these witch doctors play in these women's lives, by the way. This mirror, because inside this mirror is a suntet, a black magic widow, and she can grant eternal beauty. So Julia brings this mirror home, and the spirit talks to her and tells her, you will be granted eternal beauty if you can free me from this mirror. And what you need to do is the following. You need to sleep with 13 virgin men on a Friday nights. So not 13 in one night, but over the space of a series of Friday nights. Virgin men. In Indonesia, I wouldn't think that'd be too difficult to find. The country's population's quite big. So then the movie fast forwards a couple of years and we see Julia, and I really can't remember the name of her character, but anyway, Julia is living in this luxurious house with a husband, and her daughter has grown up into, looks to be 18, 19 years old. We see her daughter at the start of the film when she's canvassing the museum in Bali. Now, we're assuming now it's set back in Jakarta, and Julia is, well, she's looking young. She's not looking like she's aged at all, whereas her daughter is quite jealous of her mum's youthful looks. Now, her daughter is part of a group of 3 friends who, let's just say they they go to college not to study, but just to waste time. Their goal in life is clearly to marry a rich man like her mother has. Now, her mother gets visited... Sorry, I'm skipping ahead a bit, sorry. The mother continues to sleep with men. And then the mother is visited by the Suntet. Now, bear in mind, this is 4 or 5 years into the future after she's first found the mirror. And the shaman says to her probably one of the most funniest things I've ever heard. First, Julia says to her, I've slept with 400 men. When is this going to end? When am I going to have my eternal beauty? To which the shaman goes to her, of those 400 men, only 9 have been virgins. And I'm thinking, surely it's not that hard to do this, right? There's got to be enough, 18, 19-year-old boys coming out of university, college, or high school that you could probably just do this with. But clearly that's not what she does. And we see this scene later on where she clearly picks up what appears to be a man that's around my age, 40. Did she really expect him to be a virgin? Come on, let's be honest. Anyway, her daughter has a shaman as well. Oh, I should say that Julia's shaman at the start of the movie is dead. So she no longer has a shaman that she visits. And the purpose of the shaman, I don't know what they seem to do. They seem to just cast black magic spells on other people. But Julia's spirit now resides in whatever is coming out of this mirror. Her daughter has a shaman as well that she uses. And this is what I'm saying. If boys in Indonesia, if you're looking for a job, shaman seems to be it. Because every time she wants something, the payment is she has to have sex with the shaman. And that's it. And so she pimps her friends out to the shaman too. She's like, oh, my shaman's great. Come and visit him. All you got to do is to sleep with him. And then they do that. And there's a hilarious scene where her daughter, which her name is Rihanna, has brought one of her friends along, and she goes, oh, I'm getting horny just thinking of the idea that you're going to sleep with the shaman. So I went to the car to masturbate. That's the kind of movie this is. Anyway, a new girl comes to the school. Her name is Tiara. She's very attractive and she's clearly a virgin girl. Now, Tiara has some kind of sixth sense. She can do a bit of magic. And there is a boy in the class who's a bit of a playboy, who Rihanna desperately wants, but this playboy doesn't seem to want her. And so this playboy goes after Tiara, says all the right things to her, and then tries to have sex with her, but she refuses. But then he starts spreading this rumor around school that he deflowered her. And she's powerless. She can't do anything to stop that. At the same time, Tiara's also tried to make friends with Rihanna and her other 2 friends, but they've just treated her like shit. Now they find out about this rumor going around, and of course they believe that she had sex with this guy. So they start being her friends in hoping that they can drag her down to this horrible life that they've got to. Anyway, as the story progresses more and more, and we follow 2 stories here. We've got the mother who's still trying to get her eternal youth, and we've got the daughter who's trying to get her revenge on the new girl, Tiara. Now, Tiara is pure in heart still. So there's this scene later on in the film where they pretend to cast a spell on her to make her really horny. And she attempts to have sex with this particular guy who is strong enough to resist her. Now, this guy is related to a Balinese shaman who was responsible for the mirror back in Bali. And he's in Jakarta because they've got this feeling that the mirror is there, and they're trying to get the mirror back to the museum. Anyway, I'm hoping you're following along, because this is just a load of shit, this film. The story is just a load of shit. Anyway, the whole idea of this sex thing continues, where these girls just continue to sleep around and use their shamans to cast spell. The girls then try to destroy Tiara's life. Her mother then needs to go for an expensive surgery. So they try to pimp her out to this guy who will pay 75 million rupiah, which is quite a lot of money, to break her in, essentially. The Balinese guy stops that from happening because he understands that Rihanna is the daughter of the woman who stole the mirror. And so they try to cast a spell. This is where it gets really weird, right? They try to cast a spell to catch the witch, but the witch is too strong, and this is a different character. They're trying to cast a spell to catch the witch. Actually, I think it's Rihanna. She wants her mother's mirror, if I remember correctly. And so she tries to cast a spell against the witch, but the witch actually defeats the shaman who's cast a spell on her. So then the finale of the film comes down. Like I said, it's really confusing. The finale of the film comes down, where we see this great battle of Indonesian special effects from 2014, where the Balinese shaman, who is this goofy looking guy who just smiles all the way through the film, love his character by the way, has this fight against the Santet, a black magic witch, inside the mirror, and then recaptures her in the mirror and takes her back to Bali. Meanwhile, Julie Perez's character now is to suffer a long life of just getting old. And the daughter, we don't know what happened to her. I can't really remember. But it is a crazy film. This is one of those really sleazy movies that you just wonder how a bunch of actresses will agree to do something like this. You know, I'm going to play a slutty character who sleeps with everyone. Yeah, well, yeah, that's your role. And of course, you know, you've got your obligatory cameras on boobs shots and things like that. And everyone's just got large breasts in the film as well. If that's your thing, you're gonna love it. This movie is not for someone who's after a logical, fun film. I think there's fun though. No, don't get me wrong. I think there is some fun in this film because it's quite wacky. It's very similar to me to Virgin Beach Creature, but at least Virgin Beach Creature has just a simple story that you follow, and it's a bit of a slasher. A lot of people die in this one. In this film, in main Dukun, like 2 people die, if I remember correctly. It's mostly just about the sex. And it's not like the Jamu Salah movie either. Although I've got this feeling that it is from the same production house because they reused the same music and the same types of jump scares. So there's just a lot of like camera whipping and kind of whooshing sounds to kind of jump you into looking at what's on the screen. And the special effects, look, they look bad by today's standard, but there is an incredible charm to them that makes them so endearing. They are very, very delightful special effects. Very early Indonesian, I don't want to say CGI, but they clearly are a version of CGI effects. They've made a fun film for it. I can't imagine this film in a cinema, but it must have been released in the cinema. There's the only picture that I found available on TMDb seems to be the poster art of the VCD version. Now, this movie came out in 2014 and DVD was on its last legs in 2014. So the fact that it was still being released on an ancient format like VCD in 2014, that's an interesting bit of trivia. Now, you've seen the footage in the background. The footage is fabulous. It's high def quality, and I believe it's probably on one of the big streamers. I couldn't tell you where I found this film. I just had it somewhere. Somehow, I just had it. And I honestly don't remember where I got it from. But I'm happy that I watched it, and I'm happy that I was able to show you that there are Indonesian movies where there are, well, hot chicks. I think there are some quite attractive girls in this film who just wear skimpy clothes, and the whole point is to just have sex with people. And that's this movie in a nutshell. Have you seen Main Dukun? It is not a quality movie by any stretch of the imagination. And if I was to give it a rating, it'd probably be just 2 ghosts out of 5. Only because it's not crap enough for a 1 ghost, but it's not something I'd recommend you'd rush out and watch unless you're specifically looking for a sleazy Indonesian horror film with no sex in it. Well, sex in it, but no nudity in it. This is the film for you. If you've seen it, I would love to know what you think. I want to shout out 2 blokes, Antony and Kurt, for being SHOCKMANIA channel members. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on the Artie Dans, also a shout out to Kurt. You're also a channel member on that one as well, so thank you for that. Like, subscribe, all that other jazz. I hope that this video has shown you a bit of an insight into that really creative, wacky world of Indonesian horror before the LSF and the, I can't remember the name of that main Islamic board, kind of pulled the reins on Indonesian horror and started restricting the themes that could be told in these films. And that's why we get these cookie cutter carbon copy movies from Indonesia now. I joke that if you want to pitch an Indonesian horror film, you make it about a spirit who invades a small village and only religion can defeat it. Make sure you base it on a true story or a story written by a simple man. And boom, that encompasses 90% of every Indonesian horror movie that comes out. Thank God for Joko Anwar still trying to be creative. Rizal Mantovani, I think you're suffering from having to do a lot of those other types of movies, although Rizal did do the Virgin Beach Creature film, so he has got a past with making some sleazy films. But anyway, curious to know what you think. Thank you for watching. I am the Arty Dans. I'll catch you next time.